Carrie here with Miss Carrie's Creations, and today we're going to create this slimline card using our Cricut and some animated stamps. Slimline cards are all the rage right now, and I thought this would be a fun project to make one with. So as you can see, when we pull the tab, that little butterfly flutters back and forth, and we're going to be creating that with this stamp set over here. So before we get started, let me explain to you what comes in the Creativity in Motion bundle. You get a lovely set of instructions that shows you how to make some interactive motion cards. You also get 4 stamp sets. Throughout the month, I'm going to show you how to use each one of these. There's this bright 6x6 paper pack full of all kinds of patterns that you can use to make cards and scrapbook pages and all kinds of fun projects. You will also be getting these border tab thin cuts, which I used recently in my Disney mini album. You're going to get some card bases and envelopes and these animation acetate sheets. You can purchase each one of these items individually or get them as a discount in the Creativity in Motion bundle, which is available during September. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at all of the items we're going to need to make this slimline card. We have an 8.5 by 7 inch piece of white cardstock, which we have folded in half. We have this card base that's 3.5 by 8.5, and we cut a circle in the center using our Cricut. If you don't have a Cricut, you can use this circle from the shaker dies. I also have this lattice cut from craft paper, which I designed on my Cricut, and this frame, which I cut using the shaker die stitch circle over here. You're also going to need a piece of acetate that's 3.5 by 3.5 and this pull tab insert with this little tab on the end created with these border dies. Before I show you how to create some of these items in Cricut Design Space, I want to remind you to subscribe to my channel. I will be creating more Creativity in Motion projects throughout September, and I'd hate for you to miss them. All right, let's go ahead and start creating that lattice in Cricut Design Space. The first thing I need to do is go into my image library and search for a lattice overlay. I've already filtered to show the images that I own. As I'm scrolling through, I found this lattice, and I want to check and see which collection it's a part of. So I'm going to click the info button there, click view image sets, and it tells me it's part of the art booking collection. So if you have art booking, you're going to be able to use this lattice overlay. I'm going to resize this lattice to 3.5 inches wide by 8.5 inches high. The next step is to rotate this lattice by 90 degrees so we can place a circle in the center. I'm going to insert a circle shape, resize it to 3 inches, duplicate the circle, and set that second circle aside. Now I'm going to select both the lattice and one of the circles and align center so that circle's directly in the center of the lattice. I'm going to select both of those images and slice. We're going to go ahead and delete all 3 of those sliced circles. We don't need them. Now we do need to create some sort of frame for all of this open lattice work. Otherwise, it's going to look rather messy on the front of our card. So I have this extra circle over here, which I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to change the color of this second circle so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to change the size of that pink circle to 2.85 inches wide. Then I'm going to align center. Now, this is not a thick enough frame, so I need to resize that pink circle again. I'm going to resize it to 2.75 inches, recenter both of those circles, and now that looks like a wide enough frame that I can weld inside the lattice. So I'm going to slice these 2 circles, and I've created this lovely little circle frame. It's going to be aligned in the center of the lattice. Once both of those pieces are aligned, I can weld them together. Now that we have the lattice with the circular frame, we need to create a background to go behind the lattice. So I'm inserting a square shape, and I'm going to resize it to 8.5 inches wide by 3.5 inches high. This is the exact same size as our lattice. Now I'm going to change the color to white so it cuts out of white cardstock, and I'm going to insert a circle shape. That circle is going to be sized at 3 inches. I'm going to select the circle and the white rectangle and then align center so that the circle is directly in the center of the rectangle, and then slice that circle out. I can delete the other two circles, and now I have a background piece that goes behind my lattice. The circle in the shaker thin cuts is also 3 inches, so you could use it instead of a Cricut. Now I'm going to alter this pull tab insert. I'm going to be creating a stopper so that it doesn't pull all the way out from beneath the lattice. I've grabbed my paper trimmer here and I'm going to trim 1/8 of an inch off of each side up to the 2-inch mark. So here I am measuring it to make sure I'm only 1/8 of an inch over. I'm going to stop at the 2-inch mark, flip over this insert, and do the same thing to the other side. After I've cut 1/8 inch strips up to the 2-inch mark, I'm going to grab my scissors and cut off those strips. And now I've formed a stopper at the end of this card insert. Now we're going to add that stamped butterfly onto the card insert. To make sure that it's aligned perfectly inside the circle, I'm going to trace that circle cutout. Now I know where the butterfly needs to go. When you stamp these animated butterfly images, you need to take a look at the vertical lines that are on the stamp. These need to be perfectly aligned with the lines on the acetate. So to make sure that this stamped image is stamped straight on your project, you're going to want to place it down on your Versamat and use those grid lines to help you with the alignment. I'm just aligning those vertical lines with the vertical lines on my Versamat. Now I'm going to use the horizontal marks on my Versamat and line them up with the etched line on my acrylic block. After I've done that, I'm going to use those lines again to align my image on my project. I'm going to be stamping the image in intense black ink. I'm going to be very careful that all of those lines are running vertically and straight. And once my image has been stamped, I can erase those pencil marks and start assembling this card. The acetate has black lines that need to be aligned with the spaces on that butterfly image. So to make sure everything aligns properly, I am dry fitting all of these pieces together. I'm going to grab a piece of Post-it tape and temporarily hold the acetate into place. Now I'm going to flip that cardstock over and glue all of the corners of the acetate down. Now we're going to take that craft paper lattice that we cut out with our Cricut and adhere it to the front of that white daisy cardstock. You're going to want to make sure that you're aligning both of those circular openings. Once the lattice has been glued down, you can glue down that stitched circular frame on the front. If you don't have those shaker card thin cuts, you don't need to add this frame. I just liked the look of the stitching on my card. The lattice piece is going to be adhered to the card base using foam tape. It's going to go on these 3 sides. And we're going to be using the foam tape as a stopper so that that insert doesn't pull all the way out. Here I have some 1/4 inch foam tape. I'm putting the full width of the tape at the end of the card base. I'm going to dry fit this slider into the card just so I can check how far it needs to slide over for that butterfly to move. I've set the lattice on top and I'm pulling the tab. As you can see, it's only going to need to go over about 1/2 an inch. So when I place my foam tape down, I'm going to make sure that I have a 1/2 an inch of movement between the stopper and the foam tape. After I had placed all of the foam tape down, I wanted to make sure that I stamped one of these instructions onto the pull tab. I've chosen to use the words pull here, and I'm going to be stamping those onto that tab using some intense black ink. After the tab has been stamped, I can place that slider insert onto the card base, remove the backing from the foam tape, and adhere the lattice piece down onto the card. Now I can pull on that pull tab and you can watch those butterfly wings flutter. How cute is this? After designing the front of the card, I decided that this butterfly needed to be in a garden. So I cut out some flowers from the Artistry and Flower Market collection. I also cut out some leaves from Sage cardstock and some other leaves using some patterned paper from that 6x6 paper stack. All of these flowers were shaped and formed and layered using dots of foam tape. To add some dimension to those pattern paper leaves, I folded each one in half, then used foam tape or glue to layer them under the flowers. For the centers of each flower, I chose white pearls. I thought this added a little bit of elegance to the card and was the perfect finishing touch. And now our slimline card is complete with our delightful animated butterfly. I hope that you enjoyed learning how to use the Creativity in Motion butterfly image and acetate to create this animated butterfly. The rest of the images, like the lattice and the flowers, were cut using our Cricut machines. I hope that you enjoyed learning how to make them in Cricut Design Space and that you plan on pairing them with a few of those Creativity in Motion butterfly stamp images. Thank you for joining me for another Creativity in Motion project. I hope that you enjoyed the birthday party favors we made last time, and I look forward to teaching you another project here in the future. I will be adding some more Creativity in Motion projects, so make sure to click that subscribe button so that you're notified when that video is added to my channel. If you wish to see more projects like this one, go ahead and click on that collection icon above. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.